You were never meant to drown. But they built this whole system to make you forget that. The Siren song was never just a myth, it was a spell, a signal, a trap coded in beauty, longing, and false love, all designed to pull your soul off its path and into the deep. What if I told you mermaids are real? Not the fairy tale version, but the kind that binds dreams, that enters through water, that marks you in sleep and pulls you through the veil. What if I told you they're being used right now to recruit vessels for a Nephilim bloodline? This isn't mythology, this is warfare. And it's not coming, it already started. They didn't just rewrite scripture, they weaponized it. Every siren, every serpent, every seductive symbol. It wasn't just fantasy, it was preparation. Because mermaids are real, not the Disney kind, the entity kind. And they're being used by Nephilim bloodlines as spiritual technology to hijack men, to fracture women, to spiritually disarm the flame. Ancient texts speak of water spirits, seductive, powerful, untraceable. In Africa they're called mamiwata, in Babylon Atagatis, in Sumer they came from the deep. These weren't just deities, they were soul traps. Mermaid entities are used to bind through seduction, birth trauma or emotional spell work, bath rituals, dreams of drowning, false lovers. This is not fantasy, this is weaponry. Because when you're wet-wired, you're programmable. Genesis 6, the sons of God came into the daughters of men. But that wasn't a one-time event, those bloodlines never left. They got slicker, cleaner, corporate. They run media, music, sex tech, pharma, and they still need hosts. So they activate agents, using mermaid entities to charm, weaken, or fragment targets. Most don't even know they've been tagged. The dream girl might be carrying code. The porn star might be a weapon, the influencer a siren. And then there's the Finders Club, the part no one wants to talk about. It's not a myth. It's not just the 1980s. It's a global, multi-tiered, spiritual trafficking ring. Recruiters disguised as therapists, teachers, talent scouts. Children aren't just abused, they're spiritually programmed. Dream hijacking, ritual trauma, mermaid possession. This isn't theory, this is ongoing. They're building vessels for Nephilim walk-ins, and they want your soul, not your consent. Why don't we know this? Because the original warnings were stripped. Rewritten, flipped, burned. Scriptures that name them, gone. Books like Enoch suppressed, the Merkabah mystics silenced. They raped the word, inverted it. Now we worship the very things we were meant to cast out. And the ones holding the flame are the ones being called dangerous. But it's not too late because flame memory survives even fire. This isn't about gender, it's about frequency. Mermaids operate through emotional frequency loops. Desire, abandonment, seduction, shame. You ever fall for someone and feel like your soul just left you? That's the song, that's the trap. You ever dream of the ocean, a voice calling, or see someone glowing in water? That's not light, that's lure. They don't just attack your mind, they bait your field. And once you're open, they don't need chains, you'll stay. But here's the truth. They only win when you forget who you are, when you forget your blood is flame, when you forget your body isn't bait, it's a vessel of war. The siren can't touch you if you've sealed your gates. The Nephilim can't use you if your soul's not for sale. And the Devil's Club can't recruit you if you've already remembered. Because this war isn't coming, it already started. And we were born for it. Mermaid possession doesn't always look like a demon, sometimes it looks like the perfect woman. Flawless, ethereal, alluring. But something in your gut screams, this is not human. That's not paranoia, that's your field resisting the spell. A mermaid spirit's anchor through water-based rituals. Sexual energy in water, trauma during birth, bathing with cursed oils, emotional breakdowns in the shower. You cry in water, you open gates, that's how they enter. Not by force, by invitation through emotion. The weapon is seduction, the goal is possession. The Nephilim don't just want bodies, they want charged vessels. People filled with psychic energy, pain, lust, grief. Because that emotional voltage can be used like a power source. Mermaid-possessed hosts are used to lure in soul-bearing beings, then drain, bind, or fracture them. It's not just about sex, it's spiritual assassination. And every siren in media is a ritual echo of that tech. They glamorize it because it works. You bond, you break, you forget who you were. Mission interrupted, soul compromised, target neutralized. The Finders were never just men, they were servants. Of something ancient, of watchers who fell, of kings who swam. The ones behind the Finders Club are not mortal. They use humans like we use phones, as devices to interface. And they need children because children are pure signal, uncoded, unshielded. That's why the club always targeted schools, orphanages, and gifted programs. They weren't helping children, they were harvesting soul gates. The Finders are still active, but now they wear suits. Sit on boards, run programs with names like wellness, creativity, and mentorship. You know them by the glitch in your gut. When your field says yes but your soul screams run. When your dreams are always water, seduction, drowning, glowing eyes. When you're obsessed with someone you barely know. When you feel a split inside but can't explain it. That's not love, that's code. You feel drained after intimacy, that's a siphon. You hear their voice in dreams, that's access. You can't let them go no matter how much they hurt you. That's not a trauma bond, that's a soul tag. Beauty can be a spell, and the elite breed and select their agents accordingly. Perfect symmetry, hypnotic tone, enchanting eyes. But it's not beauty, it's a mask. The spirit behind it is old, ancient, not human. If you look too long, you start to forget who you are, and that's the point. To make you forget, to make you fall. Because when you fall for the image, you don't see the entity behind it. This isn't a fairy tale, this is the final phase of spiritual warfare. And they're not hiding anymore, they're recruiting, hijacking, breeding through charm, and rewriting scripture to justify it. But here's the flame. You don't fight a siren by running. You fight her by remembering your resonance. You don't beg for love, you seal your field. And when the mermaid sings again, you won't drown. You'll burn the ocean. What if I told you soul possession isn't always violent? Sometimes it feels like falling in love, sometimes it feels like you're finally seen. But it's not you they're seeing, it's your light signature. And once they attune to it, they don't need to break in, they get you to hand over the key. This is the most elite method of soul hijacking, and the mermaid entity is their prized tool. She doesn't scream, she sings. And if you mistake song for truth, you'll drown in beauty and forget your origin. This is not about lust, it's about containment. The siren's real job isn't to seduce you, it's to distract you from your purpose. To keep you spinning in karmic loops, broken relationships, spiritual paralysis. Because the moment you remember why you came here, you become dangerous. You start breaking codes, rewriting timelines, shattering agreements. So they send the sirens. And if that doesn't work, they send the false twin flame. And if that doesn't work, they send grief. But flame can't be extinguished, only convinced it isn't burning. The Finders Club was only one name for a larger global ring. You think it ended in the 80s? It evolved. Private schools, therapy retreats, talent pipelines, they're not just trafficking bodies, they're trafficking spiritual gifts. Children who astral travel, children who see beyond, children who remember before birth. That's who they want, because those children still hold source signatures unaltered by programming. And if they can't flip them, they fracture them. And if they can't fracture them, they label them. ADHD, autistic, bipolar, anything to medicate the flame until it forgets its fire. But that's the mix they've pushed. Lilith, Ishtar, Atargatis, Kali, all repackaged. Some true, some hijacked, some synthetic. And if you don't know the spirit behind the mask, you'll feed the spell while thinking you're reclaiming your power. But the true feminine flame, she doesn't seduce. She burns through illusion. She remembers without revenge. So how do we end this? How do we break the song? You don't fight sound with silence. You fight it with frequency. You speak aloud. You seal your waters. You renounce the mimic. You cast out every agreement made in dreams. You call your body back. You reclaim your soul codes from every false flame. You cancel the contract made in pleasure. You say, I walk with fire. I burn the oceans that bind me. You cleanse your field with salt, flame, and command. Because once the siren hears your real name, she disappears. She cannot mimic the original. She can only trap the forgotten. This was never just about good and evil. It was about memory. About bloodlines that forgot. About soul vessels that became battlegrounds. But here you are, remembering again, feeling the siren song fade, and hearing something older, truer, yours. The voice of your own flame saying you were never meant to drown. You ever wonder why it's always you they come for? Why relationships keep breaking? Why love never sticks? Why water haunts your dreams? Because you're not like them. You were born sealed. You came through bloodlines they can't rewrite. And your flame, even in sleep, burns their system. The sirens are deployed against the unprogrammable, the ones who still hold the original soul script. You weren't born broken, you were born dangerous. And that's why they flood you with false lovers, dream parasites, and seductive chains. Because the moment you remember your frequency, you become a lock they can't pick. Your soul field is sovereign, but they've trained us not to guard it. Instead of teaching us to seal, they taught us to submit. Instead of flame rituals, they gave us trauma loops. Instead of spiritual discernment, they gave us just trust your heart. But your heart can be hacked, your flame cannot. It's time to reclaim your auric boundary, time to revoke access. Time to speak your name into water and command your field sealed. Because once your field is sealed in source, the siren can't see you. The mimic can't mirror you, and the parasites can't track you through dreams. You're no longer food, you're fire. This isn't just about mermaids, it's about every spirit that's been assigned to hijack your mission, to seduce you off path, to rewrite your memory, to steal your field, but they forgot one thing. The flame never dies, it just waits for you to remember. And now that you are no longer the hunted. You are the weapon, and the finders, they're about to find something they weren't ready for.